Well, the silliness is likely to continue, so don't worry about that. It's really nice that people put drinks out for us, isn't it? It's a real kind of act of service, but not entirely sure I'm going to drink this. Where's this coming from? Who's this? Bring that back. It's a nice mocha if anyone wants to try it. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Good. It's great to be here. It's an honour. It's a privilege. Thanks, Mick. It's an honour and privilege to be able to stand up here and talk to you guys this morning on a lovely spring-like day. Where is the clicker? There it is. Got some visuals which we've been inundated with PowerPoints, haven't we? It's like we've suddenly realised how to use technology. But I don't know about you, but I really find it really helpful to see something visual. So you don't have to necessarily look at me. You can do if you want. But we will be, if you can follow along on the PowerPoint, that'd be great. Let's read Mark 10, verse 45, which is up there at the bottom. You might not be able to see it, but it's one verse. Let me read it for you. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Did you hear that, guys? You listening? Good. Right, this is going to be, you're going to hopefully find, I've got you in the back of my mind whilst I've been preparing this. So hopefully, I want you to listen to this. Listen to what I've got to say. It won't be long. It will be hopefully interesting because you'll have something to look at. And I will be asking you questions after. There's no sweets, there's no prizes, but your prize is just to gain a bit more knowledge about God, a bit more understanding about Scripture, a bit more understanding about what Jesus is doing in your lives, okay? That goes for all of you, so no falling asleep. Let me read that again anyway. Mark 10:45. Pete, you can just down a little bit. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Awesome, hey? I could pretty much stop there. It's just a great verse, isn't it? It describes the heart of Jesus, doesn't it? I won't. Are you being served? That's the title of what I want to bring to you this morning. Are you being served? No, it's not the 1970s sitcom, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. Are you being served? We're going to look at it in the context of how Jesus acted, about his character, about his personality. Are you being served is a phrase that we hear quite often, don't we? You go to a shop, you go to a pub, a restaurant, you go to a pub and you lean at the bar and you sort of wait about for what seems like an eternity to get served. And then someone comes up to you, oh, excuse me, sir, are you being served? Or you go to a shop and you're looking around and you're searching, you're touching all the fabrics and picking things up, looking to see if, are you being served, sir? We hear it all the time, don't we? We hear it so much that we sort of become accustomed to that. But that sentence, are you being served, it makes an assumption, doesn't it? It makes an assumption that we are the customer who's waiting to be served, waiting to be given something, waiting to be offered something, waiting to be asked something. Are you being served? You're the customer and I'm here to serve you. They do it a bit better in the States, don't they? Because they are tip-based, so they have to be like that because otherwise they don't get much money. Hey, sir, are you being served? Have a nice day. That's terrible. That's American, by the way. Are you being served? We hear it all the time, don't we? In our world today, being served is something we grow used to and we expect. And we expect quick service, don't we? We expect friendly service, don't we? And we expect efficient service, don't we? And when we don't get it, what do we do? What do we do when we don't get the service that we expect? Complain. Yeah, we do complain, don't we? We've become very good at complaining as a society, as a nation. Sometimes, what do you do? Sometimes, let's say you've been to a restaurant and you don't often leave a review, do you? If you've had good service, it's mostly when you've had bad service, isn't it? It's weird, isn't it? It's not very. It doesn't reflect very well on us as a society, does it? But sometimes, like you go to a restaurant, you have some bad service. What do? You leave a complaint or a review. Maybe you go on TripAdvisor or whatever the online service is. You go on TripAdvisor or whatever, and you leave a review. I've actually made a note of some. This one comes from a pizza restaurant. Picked up a couple of pizzas from here the other day. They were so greasy, I'm surprised the US didn't invade my apartment for the oil. No. Next one, overpriced and undergood. That doesn't sound good, does it? If I wanted to be treated with distaste, I would just stay at home. Our waiter would have been better cast as an undertaker. I've been in prisons with better service. Only the flies on our table enjoyed the meal. Oh, I won't tell you where that one's from. A good place to go with co-workers you don't like. I took a doggy bag home and the dog refused it. Finally, not what it used to be, and it didn't used to be much. So they're not good reviews, are they? But we live in a consumer culture, don't we? A culture built around meeting our wants and our needs and our expectations and desires. And sometimes I feel like I'm banging this drum quite a lot, and you probably hear me say this quite often. So I do apologise, but it will lead into something with a little bit more depth. But what I want to ask you today is, has that mindset, or is that mindset creeping into the church a little bit? Has the mindset of the consumer culture crept into church a little bit, maybe? Or is there the fear that it may? But even maybe more personally, has it started to creep into your faith? Has that consumer mindset started creeping into your faith a little bit? Do we sometimes come to church and think, what will I get today? Will this meet my needs? Will I enjoy it? In themselves, they're not wrong questions to ask, are they? Because you do come to church with an expectation that you will be challenged or encouraged, don't you? And that's not a bad thing. But they become dangerous when they're the only questions that we're asking. Like, will church meet my needs? If that's the only thing you're worried about, then that is potentially a little bit dangerous. Because when we open the Bible, we meet someone, don't we, who completely turns that mindset on its head. It completely turns that mindset upside down, because we meet Jesus himself, don't we? Listen again to the words from Mark. I'll read it again. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. It's describing the very heart of Jesus, isn't it? Sorry about this. So I said very, Pete, what did you describe as, Pete? Very American. Well, we're really bashing the Americans. It's a bit sort of American 1990s, isn't it? But yeah, you can get what I'm, hopefully get what I'm trying to put across. Before Jesus said those words, something happened, didn't it? Something very revealing took place. Two of his disciples, can you remember which one? Do you know what I'm going to say? Two of his disciples, James and John. Good, really good. What did they say? Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. That's a request, isn't it? We want you to do for us what we want. And Jesus asked them, well, what do you want me to do for you? You remember what they replied? Yes, Malcolm. Let one of us sit at your right-hand side and the other at your left-hand side in glory. So in simple terms, what were they asking for? The best seats. We want some honour and recognition. You know, admittedly, they had been through a lot. They'd followed Jesus around quite a lot, hadn't they? They wanted some recognition. I want to be at your left-hand side in glory. I want to be at your right-hand side. They weren't asking how they could serve, were they? They were asking how they could be served. And what did the other disciples think about that? Boo. They were a bit angry, weren't they? But why were they angry? Because they wanted the same thing. Good. Guys, you're doing well so far. I'm going to ask you lot some questions as well, so be prepared. They were angry because secretly their desires were the same. Their desires for recognition and honour were the same. But this moment shows something very human, doesn't it? It shows, even among the followers of Jesus, ambition can creep in. Even though those guys had been really close to Jesus, ambition, pride, and ego took over, didn't it? A desire for recognition, a desire to be important. And honestly, we probably understand that, don't we? Because in a world where recognition matters, where being noticed matters, but Jesus responds, doesn't he, in a unique way, in a really unique and a way that probably only Jesus could answer. What did he do? He got his disciples around, didn't he? And he explained to them that in the world around them, rulers were there to use power to control people. And we see that in our world, don't we? Rulers are there, people who control areas are there to dominate and to control and to demand service and expect obedience. But Jesus says, not so with you. Not so with you. What's he saying here? My followers will live differently. My kingdom works differently. My people think differently. They don't think like the world. They don't follow the world. And then he says, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. And then the key verse, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. Jesus is redefining greatness. Not power, not status, not position. Greatness in God's kingdom means serving. That's not how the world measures greatness. The world celebrates power, doesn't it? You look around you, power is celebrated with the media, with entertainment, with sporting achievements. The world celebrates power, doesn't it? But Jesus celebrates humility. The world celebrates fame, doesn't it? But Jesus celebrates service. Jesus chose to serve. Think for a minute. Think who Jesus actually is. Think who Jesus really is. He's the Son of God. He's a creator of heaven and earth. He's the one that formed the mountains. He's the one that filled the oceans. He's the one who placed the stars in the sky. He's been watching Artemis and all that. But some of the imagery that's come back from that is just breathtaking, isn't it? He created that. He hung the moon up there. He placed those stars where they need to be. He placed our planet exactly where it needs to be to hold life, to sustain life. It's amazing, isn't it? What power. The one who placed the stars in the sky. He didn't just get a load of stars and just be like, really, there we go. He placed them. There's more stars in the sky than there are grains of sand on the earth. There's more stars in the sky than there are grains of sand on the earth. I don't know who's counted them, but how cool is that? If anyone had the right to be served, it was him, wasn't it? It was Jesus. But Philippians tells us he made himself nothing, taking the very nature of a servant. He made himself nothing, taking the very nature of a servant. He stepped down from glory, didn't he? He stepped down from glory. He could have had anything, but he stepped down from glory. He entered our world. He was not born in a palace, but a stable. He was not surrounded by wealth, but simplicity. He lived among ordinary people. He walked dusty roads. He ate with fishermen. He spoke to tax collectors. He touched lepers. He welcomed children. He chose humility. He chose simplicity. He chose service. He chose the towel, didn't he? Not the throne. He chose the towel, not the throne. And that tells us something profound about the heart of God, that he is a serving God. Lisa, do you want to come up? Lisa's going to come and help me for this bit. So, one of the clearest pictures of this is found in John, isn't it? John chapter 13. Jesus and his disciples are gathered for a meal, aren't they? If you remember. Now, in those days, what did people wear on their feet? Sandals. It's all right. Sandals. And they walked along dusty roads, didn't they? So when they would come into someone's house, what would they do? There'd be a servant there to wash their feet. It's not a pleasant job, is it? It's not really an honourable job. It was probably one of the lowest tasks of a servant. But on this night, what happened? There was no servant, was there? And what did the disciples do? Did they step forward and say, I'll do it? No. No one volunteered. Perhaps they thought the job was beneath them. Perhaps they assumed someone else would do it. But then something astonishing happened, didn't it? Jesus stood up. He removed his outer garment. He wrapped a towel around his waist. And let's see what happened. He got a bowl, filled it with water, got a towel, and he washed the disciples' feet. And the room, like it is now, went silent. People stared. They must have thought, what on earth is he doing? Why is he doing this lowly job, the job of a servant? He went round and he washed all of their feet. This was not normal, was it? This was unexpected. The master had become the servant. The Lord had become the helper. The king had knelt on the floor. No task was beneath him. Jesus didn't just talk about serving, did he? He did it. He demonstrated it. He showed them what love looks like in action. And when he finished, he said, I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Not admire it, not applaud it, but follow it. That's a really, I've never done that. That's a really submissive thing to do. I try that when you get home. Wash your partner's feet, if you have one. If you haven't, get a neighbour around. Honestly, that's quite a thing to do. But even washing the disciples' feet was not Jesus's greatest act of service, was it? The greatest act was still to come, because the end of Mark 10:45 continues to give his life as a ransom for many. This word ransom is important, isn't it? Because a ransom is a price paid to set someone free. We see it in modern day, don't we? People are taken hostage and they demand a ransom, don't they? I'll give them back if you give me, there's a bank robbery. This is more in the movies. Let's go if we can keep the money. We want a helicopter. It's a ransom, isn't it? A ransom needs to be paid. And Jesus came to pay that price, a price that we could never pay ourselves. Because sin separates us from God, our selfishness, our pride, our failures, all of it creates a barrier, doesn't it, between us and the holy God. But Jesus stepped in, he carried the burden, he carried the cost, he carried the cross. He did not avoid suffering, did he? But he entered into it. He carried pain, he carried rejection, he carried humiliation, he carried injustice, he carried death itself. But through that suffering came salvation, through that pain came redemption, and through the cross came hope. How does that relate to us? Well, another hard fact that we need to face is sometimes we suffer through service, don't we? Serving others isn't always easy, is it? Sometimes serving others does involve suffering for ourselves. And that's something that Jesus understood and something that Jesus knew better than anyone else. He knew he would be mocked, beaten, rejected, and killed, and yet he continued. He didn't turn back. He didn't choose another path. Because real service quite often comes at a cost. Sometimes it means giving up comfort, doesn't it? Sometimes serving means giving up time. Sometimes it means giving up recognition. And sometimes serving means walking through suffering. Some of you understand that better than others this morning. Some of you are going through that right now. Because some of you are serving whilst suffering. You may be caring for someone who's ill. You may be supporting a loved one who's struggling. You may be carrying grief. You may be facing illness. You may be feeling tired or overwhelmed, and yet you keep on going. You keep loving. You keep caring. You keep serving. And that's not weakness. That is Christ-like strength. Sometimes the most powerful acts of service happen quietly, don't they? In hospital rooms, in kitchens, in long nights where no one else sees. God sees, God knows, and God honours faithful service. And something deeply comforting, God can bring purpose out of suffering. God can bring purpose out of suffering. Not all suffering makes sense, not all suffering is chosen, but in God's hands, suffering is never wasted. Many new churches will tell you, believe in God, believe in Jesus, you will be healthy, you will be wealthy, your illnesses will disappear, your bank balance will rise. But that's not the Bible I understand. Jesus said quite clearly, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when others revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For so they persecute the prophets who were before you. Just because we believe in Jesus, just because we're Christians, it doesn't mean suffering doesn't happen. But I would rather suffer with Christ than without Christ. So have we become consumers rather than servants? Do we sometimes approach church like consumers? What do I get? Did I enjoy it? Was I fed? Did everything suit me? Was the volume too loud? Was the singing bad? Was the preaching rubbish? Was it too hot? Was it too cold? Are the seats comfortable? Etc., etc., etc. Imagine a church where everyone thought that way. Who would do the welcoming? Who would serve the tea? Who would visit the lonely? Who would pray faithfully? Nothing would happen with it, because a church isn't a restaurant. It's a family, isn't it? I've said this quite often. Church is a family, a place, and what happens in a family? Everyone plays a part, don't they? Everyone contributes and everyone serves. But what does serving look like today? Serving doesn't always have to be big dramatic acts. It can be. It can be really self-sacrificial. It can put you in a place of discomfort. It can, well, it is about putting others' needs before your own. Sometimes putting other people's finances and time before our own. But most of the time, it looks quite ordinary. It's quiet. It's faithful. It's welcoming someone new. It's offering a kind word. It's helping behind the scenes. It's praying for someone in need. And outside the church, it might be helping at home. Listening to someone who feels alone, helping out a neighbour, serving when you're tired, serving when you're discouraged, serving when life is hard. Sometimes serving simply means just showing up, staying faithful, continuing to love. What's it say in Galatians? Serve one another humbly in love. I'm going to leave you with 3 questions. Not for you, not for someone else, not for the person next to you, but you. Okay? Am I expecting to be served, or am I willing to serve? Am I expecting to be served, or am I willing to serve? Where is God calling me to serve right now? Something might just popped into your mind, and you might have gritted your teeth and were like, "Oh no!" Maybe that's it. I don't like him. Where is God calling me to serve right now? And finally, who needs my help this week? Again, the Spirit might be prompting you. Who needs my help this week? And guys, if you're suffering today, hear this. Jesus understands suffering. He has walked that road. He stands with you. You are not alone. Jesus said, I have set an example that you should do as I have done for you. We want to be Christ-like, don't we? That's our aim. Our aim is to be more Christ-like every day. Jesus served you. Jesus washed feet. Jesus healed the broken. He carried the cross. He gave his life. And now he calls us to follow his example. Not perfectly, not always dramatically, but faithfully. One act of kindness, one moment of service, one life touched.